So you're a philosopher?
Yes. 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 I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
In about 4 seconds, a teacher will begin to speak.
I think very deeply.
Islam. My name is Cannon Bay. I'm the President of the United States of America Republic Government. And today I will be addressing the Moorish Juripurdence 4 put out by our brother, Sharif Anil Bey, and I show high honors to the brother Sharif Anil Bey. I think he's a very intelligent and wise brother. This video that I'm doing right now is not to cause confusion between him or I, or to show any animosity towards the brother or myself, but only to teach the people and to give a different perspective of the Moorish Juripurdence 4 and things that he's teaching. You know, sometimes, you know, when we're in school, we have multiple teachers. All teachers don't teach the same, and all teachers don't have the same perspective. So we have to begin to understand that our teachers can only teach to the perspective and knowledge that they have. And so what I'm putting this video out for, and what I'm doing this breakdown of the Moorish Juripurdence 4, is to provide people, our people, with a different perspective of law, with a different perspective of what he taught in the Moorish Juripurdence, and to try to hopefully gain understanding, overstanding really, between him and I, because I do respect him. I think he's a very intelligent brother. I think he's been to law school, I'm not sure. I think he may be a paralegal, or he may even be an actual attorney, because I heard him doing the Moorish Jurisprudence talking about cases that he's won in court. So I'm assuming, and I don't do that often, but I'm just thinking, I'm not going to say assuming, but I'm thinking he may have an attorney's degree, maybe even part of the Bar Association. Okay. Myself, I have never been to law school. Allah taught me the law and gave me the understanding of law that I have. And so I want to give to the people my perspective of Moorish Jurisprudence. I think it was a very good video itself, and the brother did mention he was doing it and that he accepted correction. So what I'm doing this video for is so that maybe me and him can have an understanding, and maybe even have build a dialogue with one another, so to advance the progress of our people as a nation. Okay. Islam. So let's get to the Moorish Jurisprudence, part 4.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people.
We are them. We are the men. We are them. We are Ali's men.
Mr. Moores, this lecture is correcting some of my own iniquity.
That's right, brother. That's good.
That lecture in 1998 was called Moorish Jurisprudence.
Wow.
As man unfolds, his God unfolds. So back then, I thought I was teaching right. But a mark of maturity, hence a mark of manhood, is being able to openly confess your own errors.
That's right, brother.
And then move forward.
All right.
And then move. Quran of Mecca teaches us that there was no argument until after truth came.
Right.
Let's start with some basic definitions.
Come on.
Citizen. A legally recognized what? Member of a state or commonwealth, either native or naturalized. Number 2, a native or naturalized member of a state or nation.
The Moorish symbol of America Which you have some Moors out here telling people that their nationality is Moorish Central America, which is, this is like the stupidest thing I ever heard. I just got to call it like I see it. Stubblefield Bay, I got to put you out there. Okay, listen to me. Your nationality, your free national name is not Moorish Temple of America. Your free national name is Moorish American. 2, the Moorish Temple of America derives its power and authority from the Quran of Muhammad. We as Moorish American people, if you go to the United States of America Republic.us website and read the preamble of our Constitution as a nation of people, you will see we as a nation of people, being a state, we derive our power and our authority from our Creator. Do you understand? Now I'm just doing the math. I'm just giving you the numbers. You do the math and see how it adds up, okay? Islam. Back to you, Brother Sharif.
Who owes allegiance, keyword,
Right.
to its government and is entitled to its protection.
Islam. Yeah.
You have a number of our people that have a seeming phobia of contracts. We're going to talk about that.
Right.
That is a contract. That's an agreement.
Islam. Okay, that's right.
That's an agreement.
Right.
I give my allegiance to the nation.
Islam.
The government, which is the service department of that nation, the management of that nation, now guarantees me rights and protections
Islam.
in exchange for my allegiance. This is the number one reason why nationality is free, not just here, but all over the world, because no one can put a price on your allegiance.
Okay. Brother Sharif Anil Bey, in this particular portion of the Juripurdence video, part 4 video, he speaks on allegiance. So my question to him would be, to what nation are you saying that we should have allegiance to? This is important because this flag is the nation, is the flag of the nation that I'm part of, and anybody that's a Moorish American are part of this nation right here. This flag represents a nation. So, if he's talking about having allegiance to the United States federal government, let's say, okay, we as Moorish Americans have a certain allegiance to the United States government. We are part and parcel of the United States government. Okay, we help establish and the United States government, and we have a treaty with the United States government, therefore showing, because we as Moorish American people have this treaty with the United States, it shows that we have allegiance to the United States. In the treaty, in the Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1787, superseded in 1836, it says in the treaty that we will never take an enemy side against the United States. That's showing an allegiance between the United States and us as Moorish American people. So therefore, we do have a certain amount of allegiance to the United States government. But our problem as a people is that we confusing the allegiance part. Yes, we will not take an enemy side against the United States government, ever, with any enemy, foreign or domestic. So let's get an understanding. If, and this is what's getting ready to happen, the prophet predicted this. If a civil war break out in America right now, whose side, listen to me, Moors, I want you to ask yourself this question. Whose side would you be on? If the federal government got into a war with the state that you're residing in right now, whose side would you be on? Would you be on the side of the state that you're residing in? Or would you be on the side of the United States government? This is a very important question that people are not, I don't think people are asking the right questions, so they're not getting the right answers. So I'm going to try to provide some of the right questions that you should be asking our Moorish leaders, our so-called leaders that's out here teaching you. They need to start breaking these things down so that you get an understanding of what's going on. So, I'm going to ask the questions and I'm going to provide some answers today. Okay, so the United States is really our ally. Okay, they're allies of ours. Okay, and we as the Moorish American people, in 1779, once they took our names, actually in 1774 when they took our names from us and put us in slavery by taking our names and our nationality and our national descent from us. And once they did that, we had to begin to understand that we were no longer true citizens because we had no nationality, which is what the flag represents, nationality. We had no nationality of our own anymore. And so we went into slavery as the prophet teach in Act 6. So, of the Divine Constitution. And so, by us losing our nationality, we therefore had a solo allegiance to the United States. Because the United States was the ones who what? Protected us as a nation of people being in this land. But we was at fault in law because we were no longer national citizens, which means we no longer was recognized as a state. Okay? So, by us no longer being recognized as a state because we decided to leave our state and follow the Europeans and their government, which is supposed to have been a partnership between the two of us, them and us, because we all left from what we had and decided to go over and follow them and what they had. But not only that, because we was placed in a stupor and we went to sleep. And the way we went to sleep is because they actually, they rocked us to sleep like a baby by not allowing us to read or write or learn for a certain period of years. So this is what caused the stupor, where we lost and forgotten the true law. But now we're waking up again, and now we're beginning to implement and teach them again what the real true law is, because a lot of them don't even really truly know. So, this allegiance. When you have allegiance, you have a dedication, you have a moral compass of loyalty. Okay? You have an extreme amount of loyalty. You have this allegiance, which is loyalty, in most aspects that best way I could sum it up for you. Allegiance is loyalty. Okay? Honor before dishonor is what allegiance is. Okay? And so we, being Moorish Americans, have a certain amount of allegiance to the United States for numerous reasons. And I'm going to give you a few of them right now. Number one, after our nationality was taken from us in 1774, and once we were freed from slavery in 1865, we did not reform ourselves back into an independent nation state like we were supposed to. The problem that Moors have in this country is we have not shown allegiance to our own state. We talk a good game. Moors are talking a good game, but they're not understanding you can talk all day, but you still a 14th Amendment citizen. You still are a citizen that have 14th Amendment rights, and you will remain such until you have allegiance to your own state. This is real simple. You must have allegiance to your own state to be a national citizen. And this is what Noble Drew Ali was talking about. Okay? We are national citizens. We're not domesticated citizens, residents in this country. We are inhabitants of this country and this land because it is ours. So what Moors need to do is come back in the mindset of and remembering that guess what? You're not under the United States government. You're in a partnership with the United States government. And you need to start acting as a partner. That's our people problem in this country. They don't understand. The prophet told you there's no more chains on you. The only chains on you now are mental chains. We have a local and temporary allegiance to the United States federal government because it is written in our treaty with them that we will never take enemy side against them, but don't get it mistaken. If we are, as a nation of people, are under attack by the United States government or any other government, our first allegiance is to who? To our nation, to us as a people, to our state, which is who? The people. So if you can't have allegiance to yourself as a nation of people, how can you have allegiance to them? They looking at you like you crazy. This is going against the rules of law that God created. To go against your own people for another nation. Your nation come first. It's about self-survival. One of the first rules of nature is self-survival. And we as a nation of people have to begin to understand that it's about our survival as a nation of people. Ain't no other race going to try to make sure you survive over their race. They're going to try to make sure that their race survive. So now, we have to come into the mindset of understanding that this allegiance, and that, as I was saying, if the United States was to get into a civil war right now, it would be the federal government fighting the people in the states, and these state governments who have done what? Forgotten that they are subjects of the Queen of England, and that they are immigrants here in our land, granted the privilege to come here to America and live and reside in our country. Okay? So, with that being said, if a civil war broke out between the United States and your state, whose side would you be on? Who is your allegiance to? So now I'm going to tell you, your allegiance is to your state. This one right here. Our state is called the United States of America Republic. That's our state. The prophet told you. We are citizens of the U.S.A. The U.S.A. is the actual land called America. Republic. The republic is our actual government. It's our actual government. Okay? And so, if the states got into it with the United States, we as Moorish American people would do what? We would stand aside. Either we would stand aside and let them fight, or we would do what? Join forces with the United States. We have to stay in law. And the whole reason the UN is coming into this country and everything else is because, you know, you got to understand that what's going on and what's getting ready to go on is a reclaiming of the land, which is called reclamations in international law. The federal government have been the trustees and fiduciaries over these lands for the native-born people, which is the Moorish American people and any other Aboriginal people of America. So, a lot of citizens in this country who really think they're real citizens of this country are not. The prophet said it. Just because you're born here don't make you a citizen. People have to begin to learn the real history. And more should be teaching the real history to our European brothers because of the simple fact they've been lied to as well and don't know the true history, which is going to get a lot of people killed. So we have to begin to start teaching the truth, and we have to let the people know from the teachers of the Honorable Prophet Noble Ali, because he prophesied and told the people exactly what was going to happen. For some reason, the Europeans in this country that feel that they are sovereign citizens under the sovereign citizen movement, they got to get an understanding because they are off course right now. They must understand that this is not their land, this is not their country, and that their ancestors was granted permission to come here and settle in this land. And what they're going to do is get themselves killed trying to fight against the United States government, who's only simply implementing reclamations on behalf of the Aboriginal people to get ready to turn our lands back over to us. The Honorable Prophet Noble Ali teaches us that anything that has a beginning also has an ending. The colonization of America had a beginning. Guess what? It means it has an ending. And we're at the point, we're at that ending and approaching that ending right now. Which means that the land must be turned back over to the indigenous Aboriginal people whose land it is, which is Moorish American people. we must begin to understand what's going on around us and what's taking place.
Civics, the branch of what? Political science that deals with the rights and duties of citizens. You'll hear me repeat this throughout this whole lecture. There is no such thing as rights without responsibility.
Right.
Number two, the study of the political rights and responsibilities of citizens and of the operation of government.
Right.
There is no such thing as rights of a citizen absent responsibility.
That's right.
That is the balance.
Right. Wow. That's right.
Let's go back. Civics, the branch of political science that deals with the rights and duties of citizens.
Right.
November 29th, 1926, the organization Moorish Temple of Science was incorporated as a what? Civic organization. Now there is no more, there should be no more question as to what civics is and what civics is not.
Come on.
In this part of the video, Brother Sharif tells you, now you know what civics is, and now you know what civics is not. I beg to differ with Brother Sharif. A lot of our people in Moorish Science, some of America still don't know what civics is and what it is not. And it's apparent that from me watching the overall video itself, that it's apparent to me that he don't know what civics is and what civics is not. So I want to give you a keynote here. This is out of civics book, okay? And it's the main thing that should be being taught to Moorish Americans across the country, as well as Negro, colored, black, and African American people, so that they can come into the right mindset of understanding what civics actually is about. So listen closely, because this is going to sum things up for you where you understand what civics is actually about. Family, the fundamental social group. One social group has existed continuously from the beginning and remains today. This is the family, which forms the foundation of human society. Human beings are social by nature. The motive which draws people together is so universal that we call it a natural instinct. Nobody leads the hermit type of life if he can avoid it. Robinson Crusoe was not on his little island because he wanted to be there. Even among the least civilized races of men, among savage tribes, there is a grouping of men, women, and children on the basis of blood relationship. The family is older than the community or the state. It is the basis upon which all other groups and organizations have been built. Its primary function is to keep the human race going. Its first duty is the rearing of the children, so that a new generation may take the place of the old generation. Other duties that belong to the family may be handed over to the school. The duty of secular education. Or to the church, the duty of religious instruction. But the essential function of the family, that of perpetuating the race, is one which cannot be transferred. This is civics. That's what civics is about. It's about us as a nation of people recognizing each other that we are one family, like Noble Drew Ali said, we are one family bearing one free national name. That is not the civics, that little civics course that he just stated in this video, talking about that sums up what civics is and what civics is not. Come on, brother. This is why people in the condition they in right now, because they don't understand. Your family is your race. So when you see me with this fez on, you should not be talking about, oh, what grand body did you come through? Who your sheik is? When you see me with this fez on, you supposed to say, what's up, bro? What's up, cuz? What's up, Moorish kid, Islam? Not no looking at me with your face twisted up, frowning at me, talking about, oh, he don't act Moorish, or Moors don't do that, what he doing, and Moors don't carry themselves like that, and Moors don't dress like that, and you know, he didn't come in through the original grand body and all that other mess. That's not civics. That's nonsense. I keep trying to explain to our people. Start thinking with common sense. The prophet said, if I only start you to thinking, you will save yourself. Part of saving yourself is understanding we must save ourselves as a nation. Ain't no saving me without saving you. Bottom line, period. I am not a state by myself, but we as a nation of people equal a state. And in civics, you know what they teach you in civics? They teach you this. Whatever government is the most popular government, that's the government that rules. So we as Moorish Americans that are part of the United States of American Republic understand that it's about state. And other nations and races of people living here in America, when they see that we run our government under the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, guess what they want to do? They want to leave the state that they part of, and they want to come and live under your state, under you, because they love and like the way that you run your state, which begins to make your government the most popular government. Understand the 14th Amendment clearly. Anyone born and naturalized here is automatically a citizen here and of the state in which they reside. The United States government has never told our people that we could not form ourselves into an independent nation state at no time. And to align ourselves with the national constitution of the United States of American Republic, we must understand that we're not in line with the United States Constitution because we're not acting as what? National citizens. Because if we were national citizens, we would have what? A state. A state. In this country, the states are sovereign. Plain and simple as that. The states is not an individual person, but a nation of people. This is not hard. This is simple math. I'm giving you the numbers. You do the math. Add it up. Add it up. Stop letting people tell you anything. Add it up. Anything that I demonstrate and that I teach you is always going to be law and line up with law. Right now, Moors nationwide that's running around in these temples talking about they Moorish Americans are simply African Americans that's Moorish conscious because they still out of law. This flag represents a state. It don't represent Moorish Science Temple of America. It represents a state. And we as a nation of Moorish American people is a state. Islam, I yield the floor. Back to you, Brother Sharif.
Mission statement of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Multifaceted because, as the Grand Sheikh said earlier, the organization started as a civic organization.
Right.
And then was changed to a religious organization.
Right.
But our Islam is not a quietist Islam.
Come on.
Quietist meaning, oh, well, we just practice it inside the temple on Holy Day and on Sunday.
Let's make it plain, brother. Come on.
Our Islam, let me back up. What is our religion?
Islam.
Islamism. If you look at anyone's definition of Islamism, whether they're pro or con, they agree that it is a political Islam. Right. It is an Islam that touches every fabric of our activity.
Islam. Right.
Everywhere we go is the temple.
That's right.
Number one, mission statement. Propagate faith. Faith, what faith? The faith of Muhammad.
Islam.
Let's make no mistake on that.
That's right.
And extend the learning and truth of the great prophet of Ali in America, to appoint and consecrate missionaries of the prophet, and to establish the faith of Muhammad in America.
Right.
Also, to uplift fallen humanity.
Right.
Lastly, to teach the things that will make better citizens out of men and women.
That's right.
Islam. The Moorish Science Temple of America, if you read the 1010-5905, you get a copy of the 101s of the Moorish Science Temple of America, it clearly tells you that the Moorish Science Temple of America derives its power and authority from the Quran of Muhammad. Let's get an understanding here. The Quran of Muhammad was written in like 600 to 631 BC. After Christ. Okay? Just kind of try to use some common sense here and not nonsense at this point. If the Book of Muhammad didn't come around in 600 to 631 BC, AC, after Christ, if it didn't come to then, and our prophet tells us and teaches us, the Honorable Prophet Noble Ali teaches us that this flag is over 10,000 years old. This is like common sense. Now listen to what I'm saying. This ain't nonsense, this is common sense, Morris. Listen to me.
This definition we all should. Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition. Nationality, that quality or character that arises out of the fact that a person belongs to a nation or a state.
Right.
Nationality determines one's what? Political status. It does not say status at law. Specifically with reference to what? Allegiance. While domicile determines one's civil status. Nationality is acquired either via birth or naturalization. Another nationality, the status of what? Belonging to a particular nation.
Right.
This is what nationality is. Nationality is not a get out of jail free card.
Thank you.
Nationality is not a I'm better than another national group ID.
Come on, man.
That is not what it is.
That's right.
Nationality does not determine status at law. It is not a determining factor of which laws apply to certain individuals or how they are applied. You don't see one Italian. I'm skipping ahead.
Come on.
In the history books, we know it's not true, but hey, they believe that they discovered America via Christopher Columbus. But you don't see not one of them pulling out a national ID or the like that says I'm an Italian American and therefore I don't have to pay taxes.
Okay, let's talk about this tax thing. Let me help you get some understanding about paying taxes here in America. There's a place in the Bible where Jesus say, he asked, I think it was Matthew, he asked him, he said, hey Matthew, who do they charge taxes? Do they charge their own people taxes? Matthew say, nah, they only charge foreigners tax. He said, okay, well go get the fish and look in the fish mouth and get the 2 coins and pay the taxes. Let's get an understanding here. Our people are paying taxes to foreign estates. This is why Noble Juripurdence told you, they're going to tax y'all to death. Children, they're going to tax y'all to death. Okay? Let me explain something to you. We as Moorish American people, now that we formed ourselves back into a state, guess what? I don't have to pay taxes to no foreign state. I pay taxes to my state, which is to my people. I don't have to pay the state of Illinois no tax. Because I'm already paying taxes to a state. Now, this thing, like he was saying about nationality don't matter in the law, how the law apply to you, nationality don't determine how the law apply to you. Let me tell you the reason why a lot of foreigners that come here, why they get this big tax break for a certain period of time, okay? In the United States Constitution, it's telling you that a person that's been naturalized, they're not eligible to be president in this country until a certain number of years that they've actually resided here, okay? This is the same thing with those foreigners. When they first come here, they have to actually reside here for a certain period of time before the United States government can actually tax them. The laws of your country still apply to you even though you are in another land. This is why foreigners are here doing what? Working and making money and doing what? Sitting at home. They sitting at home. Why are they sitting at home? Because they still got to pay tax in their land where they're from. Because their laws of their country and them being a national of their country, the tax still apply to them. Whether they're here in America, over in Africa, down in Australia, it don't matter. They still have to do what? Send money home. Why? That's the taxes they're paying back to their country. And in return, you know what their country do? Set them up. They get a big warehouse for them here. They help ship in merchandise for them here. They give them a loan so they go open up their beauty shops. You see it. So they open up all these beauty shops and all these nail shops. So and then the Koreans got this great big warehouse, and all the Koreans that's here order from that warehouse. It's a business. They understand it. Our people, once again, not using common sense, steady using nonsense. Why would I pay somebody else taxes to live or rent to live in my own house? Why would I be giving you rent to stay in my own house? It don't make sense. But guess what? If you are a resident residing in a foreign state, give Caesar what is Caesar and give God what is God. Do I need to say more? Come home to your state government, the United States of America Republic, which is our government. Get to the Moorish website, to the United States of America Republic website, which is the website for our government as a nation of people. It is our business. It's time to stop paying foreigners taxes. Get your nationality. You can only pay taxes to one state. I live in Illinois. The state of Indiana ain't sending me no form talking about I owe them no taxes. California ain't sending me nothing talking about I owe them no taxes. Because I don't reside in those states. Don't you get it? Stop residing in foreign states. Come home to the United States of America Republic, which is our government that the prophet set up. We are the original national government. We reside in all 50 states across the continent of the United States, and then it comes down to jurisdiction. I'm not a citizen of the state of Illinois. I'm not a citizen of the District of Illinois. I'm a citizen of the province of Illinois, and the provinces of the United States of America Republic are in all 50 states across the continent of the United States. That's the jurisdiction that we as Moors in the United States of America Republic have carved out for Moors to reside and live and inhabit in. Stop paying taxes to your own people. Pay taxes to your own state. Stop giving these foreigners your money. They're not giving you nothing back. Back to you, Brother Sharif.
Right.
Related quotes from the Prophet Noble Raleigh. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth.
Right.
There's a host of jealousy about me in the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as what? American citizens. What do we see here, people? When the prophet spoke of earthly, we're returning to Islam, was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. He now here clearly defines earthly salvation as what? American citizens. That is the definition. Full Americanization with all the inherent rights and liberties as any other national group on American soil. That is earthly salvation, people. They are working every scheme they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. Another quote. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and the nations of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in this government. Let's stop right there. There's a controversy over Act 4 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. This organization of the Moorish Science Symbol of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. The question is, which government? You have some people say, oh, it's talking about itself. It's talking about the government of the Moorish Science Symbol of America. I beg to differ. And so does the prophet. Let's continue. And recognized by all nations of the world. And through it, here we go. Now we're getting more clarity on nationality and its importance and its use. Through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens. Here we go. that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege has been an existing condition for many generations. So nationality determines what? One's what? Political status. Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me.
Yes.
The whole purpose of nationality is to allow for full constituent participation in nations' affairs. How does the citizen do that? Through the political process.
I beg to differ too, Brother Sharif. What the prophet was actually talking about, let's get an understanding here. The government the prophet was actually talking about was the United States of America Republic. See, in order for us as Moorish Americans to align ourselves with the national constitution of the United States, we have to form ourselves back into an independent nation state. This is how your rights will not be molested by others. Okay? When he say, listen to what he said. He say the states' governments. The states' governments. Where's our state government at? Where is it? You got Moors running around here talking about Moorish Science Temple is a state. No, it is not. Moorish Science Temple of America has home rule authority. If it has home rule authority, it's not a state. It's a municipality. And has the power to exercise that in Cook County, Illinois, and has the power to exercise as a municipality in the state of Illinois. That's what Moorish Science Temple is. Okay? Back then, the prophet was talking about a municipality. You got to remember, a prophet is thinking in the time he's in, he's trying to do something for the people that he came to save from the oppression of the pale-skinned nations. And in the future, he's working, setting things in place for in the future. So back then, it was about municipality and us exercising as such, which would begin to teach you how to run government for later on in the future when you start beginning to run your state government. Okay? So the only way for you to cast a free national ballot, you have to really pay attention to know what you are leading. The prophet was a prophet and a genius, and he left clues. He said, there's no need for the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of my people. Why? Because once we form ourselves back into an independent nation state like we were supposed to, which is lining up with the Constitution of the United States, because the Constitution of the United States is what? A contract with who? The states. It is a contractual agreement with the states by contract or compact. And unless we as Moorish American people have our state established, then that contract of the federal government does not apply to us but in one way, and that's secured for us through the 14th Amendment. But if you are a true Moorish American, if you are a Moorish national, which means you have allegiance to a state, then now you line up with the national constitution of a free national government. This whole country is set up for free national citizens. And somewhere in this video, and I'm skipping ahead too for a minute. Somewhere in this video, the brother said, we're not nationals, we Moorish Americans, we citizens. The prophet said citizens. He never, and nowhere in his literature, said nothing that we as nationals. Let me correct you, my brother. Read Acts 6. He said it's a new era of time now, and all men must now proclaim their free national name to be recognized by this government and the nations of the earth. Brother, if you are a citizen residing in a foreign state, you're not a national. Therefore, you have no free national name. The prophet is telling you in clear language, if you understand law, what a free national name is. It means you're a free national citizen. So again, you're misleading the people right there, brother. Let's get it clear. Let's get an understanding. Let's get an overstanding. So now, casting, he say, my people would be able to cast a free national ballot. They would not need the granted privilege to vote. How does one cast a free national ballot without having a state and being a true what? State citizen. Now, let me explain to y'all this something. There's a difference in voting and casting a free national ballot. If you cast a free national ballot, you're known as an elector. Okay? If you're voting, you are a citizen or a resident of some state. Okay? The difference in voting and casting a ballot is much as this. Let me give you some clarity on this. None of our people, I don't care who you are, if you register to vote, let's get an understanding. When you register to vote, you're voting for who you want to sit in a seat in your government or in the United States government. In the state's government or in the United States government. That's casting a vote. Okay? Casting a free national ballot deals with, guess what? Well, you know, the states say they're gonna pass a law saying, you know, people gonna need to get a license to breathe air. You have your representatives of your state that you picked, that you send to the United States Congress. They go there and know what their job is? Their job is to cast a ballot on behalf of the citizens of their state, the wishes that the citizens of that state of what they want. So the citizens in that state tell their state representatives, look, we want you to vote against that. We don't want to pay for no license to breathe. So their state representatives go to Congress and they cast a ballot against the bill that is trying to be passed that says we're going to charge people a license to breathe air. That's casting a ballot. Casting a ballot deals with your rights as a nation of people. Casting a ballot deals with passing of laws. Being a resident, you don't have power to do that. You don't have power to do that. So every law that's being passed, you're subject to because you are residing in a foreign state and it continue to be a resident in a foreign state. Once you take your oath to your state, now you're able to cast a free national ballot in your own state election. You still will vote in your state election. You can care less who's in Washington doing whatever. It's not our state. That ain't our business. We still do what though? We still will elect some members from our state to go sit in Washington. And guess what? If Congress is convening and they ain't saying nothing about our state, our senators and our people that we send to their Congress, they ain't got nothing to say. The second issue come across that floor about Moorish American people in the United States of American Republic, now the people that we as a state sent to Congress in Washington, D.C., now they got something to say. Now they have something to say. This is how this thing works. Okay? And please read the United States Constitution carefully. Because right in the United States Constitution, they're telling you, if you vote, listen to me good, if you vote, you are a criminal. You are a criminal. You're not supposed to vote in the elections of the United States. It is a corporation, a foreign corporation to you, as a nation, as a state. Foreign to your state. But you are part and partial of the United States government. Because it's a contract. It's a contract. The United States Constitution is a contract with the states, not the individual citizens, not the individual people. States Constitution is a contract between the federal government and the states. And learning that, you will begin, things will start making sense to you. And things won't seem, you will be able to start spotting nonsense when people teaching you and talking to you. You'll understand what you will begin to have is free national principles and standards which the prophet taught us and which the prophet wanted us to escalate to, is the understanding back to the understanding that our forefathers had of nationality, nationhood, being a state, and free principles and standards for us as a nation of people having the right to self-determination. Back to you, Brother Sharif.
That's from the Moorish Guide newspaper, 1928, Law Registry. The 3,000 Muslims of the Grand Temple and the West Side Temple are making ready to register every man or woman in order to take the lead for the various candidates whom they have been what? Instructed to vote for.
Islam. Come on, brother. Yes, sir. Come on.
Alderman Louis B. Anderson, the Honorable George W. Blackwell, the Honorable Oscar DePriest, Honorable Robert H. Jackson, all working through the regular Republican organizations, of which the Honorable Daniel M. Jackson is our matchless leader, all know the whole situation and have their own way and time to give the order to go. The Muslims will be ready. This was an article in the Moorish Guide newspaper, 1928, entitled Political Slavery. Anytime a man or a woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, stop. In Islam, there is no distinction between church and state. That is, understand the significance of the peculiar language used here.
Right.
The ballot is considered sacred. Like I said, Islamism is a political Islam.
Come on, brother.
Let's go. For surely, anytime a man or woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, they separate themselves. They separate themselves. Ooh. Anytime a man or a woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, they do what? Separate themselves from all rights of an American citizen, meaning you gave up your earthly salvation.
Wow.
For surely this is the only connecting medium. Surely this is the only connecting medium for a citizen to his nation. They become no more than belated beasts of burden. There are reasons why certain classes who are more or less independent take no part in politics, since they say they get nothing out of such in the way of material gain. This is no less than a political slave, since they are refused to voice their sentiment at the polls. Another form of political slavery, which is probably more prevalent among the less independent classes, is that of being forced into one of the major parties and there bribed, coerced, or otherwise forced to vote the wishes of someone else, regardless of their own minds. See, people during that time period, a number of us, because the prophet and the party that the people that the prophet endorsed was the Republican Party.
Right.
The presumption by many is that, we were pro-Republican. No.
Make it plain.
No.
Come on.
There is party politics,
right,
and then there is people politics. There is community politics.
Come on.
When we talk about a free national ballot, national meaning what? Our particular national group with our own peculiar and particular issues, with our own peculiar and particular problems. We come together like any intelligent group of people. Ants do this.
Come on.
And they come together and they assess their collective issues and devise a plan called a political platform or an agenda to address their issues. And then they mobilize behind that plan and they put it on the ground.
That's right.
That's how it works.
Look, let's get something clear. In order for you to have your earthly salvation, you need your own state to vote in and to cast ballots in. Not in foreign states dealing and getting into the politics of foreign nations. That's not how it works. You have to have your own state. And by having your own state and passing your own laws, then you're no longer subject to the laws of other nations. This is real simple. I'm talking about, come on now, I'm giving you the numbers, do the math. Add it up, see what it adds up to. Okay, do the math. Again, this is nonsense what the brother is teaching because he don't truly understand free national principles and standards. Free national principles and standards deal with being independent. You can't, the prophet said it, nobody can stand a beggar nation. Nobody can stand a beggar nation. If you are a nation, you are independent. You are independent. So it's a reason why those other independent states that he's talking about choose not to vote in their elections. It's bigger than what a lot of them back in that time could understand what the prophet was actually doing. Because the prophet didn't write that article in there. Best believe he understood. For us to truly have our earthly salvation, we must be an independent nation state with the right to self-determination as an autonomous nation. And now you can have your kingdom right here on earth, like all other races doing. Go to Chinatown. Go to some of these, go to the Mexican community. These people have their own communities right here within the United States. Everybody can live amongst each other and still be separate when you understand the real law. When you understand the real law. Our problem as a people is that we don't understand this. We keep trying to integrate and mix in to foreign states, under foreign state citizens, and trying to change what they're doing in their government. The way you control what's going on with us as a nation of people is because you're in control of your own government, because your government is being ran by you as a people. It's simple math. Simple math. I'm not talking nonsense, I'm talking common sense. Okay?
Before there can be a general relief for the economic good of all forms of political slavery must be abolished, and every citizen must take his part in the affairs of the nation. Woo. Since the organization and establishment of the Moorish Civil America in 1925, its growth has been enormous. The facts concerning the Muslim religion meets the approval of people everywhere. For one to have explained their nationality, the history of their forefathers who were the masters of the first civilization of the old world, right, is to give them something that fills a vacancy in their lives and gives them a courage and hope to obtain the fullness of life as was divinely ordained by our master, Allah. Woo. This religious organization is secured and safeguarded by the very Constitution of the United States. For in reality, it makes the ordinary man and woman a better citizen, for they realize what citizenship means. Wow. Wow. It teaches loyalty to the nation and the deepest respect for what? Law and order. That's what this is. The 14th Amendment did not create a type of citizenship. There is no such thing as 14th Amendment citizenship. That is like calling you the N-word by Europeans in the South who will not recognize you as an equal member of American society. And we've already determined that the prophet's sole mission in terms of earthly salvation was to ensure that you would be recognized as an equal in American society. What does that tell you, people? I told this to some brothers, some RBG brothers, shout out to those brothers. I said the most revolutionary, the most wildest, the craziest, the most radical thing you can do is pull that ballot. That's the most radical thing you can do in this country. Because that is the number one. How many of you have ever been locked up? How many have ever been convicted of a crime? What are the two things they take from you? Don't let anyone tell you that your vote doesn't count. Don't let anyone tell you that. They take away the right to bear arms and the right to vote.
Mr. Curtis, would you please state your full name for the record?
My name is Clinton Eugene Curtis,
And where do you reside?
Tallahassee, Florida.
And what is your profession?
I'm a computer programmer.
Would you please speak into the microphone so the audience can hear your testimony?
I'm a computer programmer.
Mr. Curtis, are there programs that can be used to secretly fix elections?
Yes,
How do you know that to be the case?
because in October of 2000, I wrote a prototype for President Congressman Tom Feeney at the company I work for in Oviedo, Florida, that did just that.
And when you say did just that, it would rig an election?
It would flip the vote 51-49 to whoever you wanted it to go to and whichever race you wanted to win.
And would that program that you designed be something that elections officials that might be on county boards of elections could detect?
They'd never see it.
Mr. Would you answer that question once again?
They would never see it.
So how would such a program, a secret program that fixes the election, how could it be detected?
You would have to view it either in the source code, or you'd have to have a receipt and then count the hard paper against the actual vote total. Other than that, you won't see it.
All right, Mr. Curtis, if you had been asked, you or others with your professional expertise had been asked to design a protected program that would protect the Ohio elections from against such software to fix the election, could you have done so?
If we've been asked to make a program that can fix the election, sure, anybody can do it.
No, could you have designed a program or a procedure or a protocol that would have protected Ohio against this kind of rigging?
No, you have to look at the source code. You have to get probably programmers from both or all parties to look at the source code and determine if there's anything in there that shouldn't be there. I mean, it's a simple program. You're adding 1 to a person's total. It's 100 lines of code tops.
All right, are you aware of whether there was any protective action in Ohio against this kind of vote rigging through software?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You were not asked to assist in the development of any protective system, is that correct?
No, I was not.
In Europe, have you reviewed at all the election results in Ohio?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Given the availability of such vote rigging software and the testimony that has been given under oath of substantial statistical anomalies and gross differences between exit polling data and the actual tabulated results, do you have an opinion whether or not the Ohio election, presidential election, was hacked?
Yes, I would say it was. I mean, if you have exit polling data that is significantly off from the vote, then it's probably hacked.
And your testimony is under oath?
Yes, sir.
And the testimony you've given is true?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
In the matter of electing a congressman for the 1st Congressional District of Illinois, and the presidential election will be found such political activity that has not been seen for many a year. We stop. This was in 1928.
Right.
Rosewood, Florida went down in 1923, 5 years before. And they were hanging Asiatics and putting signs on them and said, "This Negro voted."
Wow.
Think on that. Think on that. In my last presentation, which was a debate, I produced a short list of cities in the South that were run by our people.
Yep.
And the for lack of a better term, forget the term, the whitewashed name given to what happened in these cities is they said they were race riots. They were not race riots. What happened in Rosewood, what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, what happened in Wilmington, South Carolina, what happened in these cities in Utah, Alabama, Coshada, Louisiana, that's another one. What happened in these cities were literal, organized, armed takeovers of Asiatic cities by Europeans, organized by the KKK and the White League.
Wow.
That's what they were.
Wow.
To the thousands of members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, will these matters be discussed at length? The opportunity to elect one to Congress whose interest in such matters that are close and dear to us now presents itself. Notwithstanding the fact that we were much disappointed when, for some reason not known to us, our choice, which is the choice of the district in the person of Alderman Louis B. Anderson, was not selected as the representative for Congress, we still feel that he is the only logical one to represent the people of this district. Now it seems that there are others who have been placed in the running, some chosen by the representatives of the people and others self-appointed, but the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America are governed by the opinion of our present political leaders, for we feel that they know what is best for all. What does this tell you? The prophet in the Moorish Science Temple of America and the members of this organization were heavily entrenched in politics.
Correct.
Because that is the purpose of nationality. Nationality determines political status. Political status brings political power. Political power brings the ability to change your circumstances and conditions and the social environment to improve and uplift fallen humanity. That's the cover. What does it say on the cover? The prophet said what? Elect Anderson. Hold on, brother. Sorry. Go ahead. Praise God.
Islam. Sharif, you're right about what you just said. The Moorish Science Temple of America is not a state. It is a municipality, though. It has home rule authority, and it does have a theocratic government. And I think a lot of Moors is mistaken that body of politic and a municipality and is a state. Okay, states are bodies of politic, but you have all kinds of forms of bodies of politics, such as your county, a city, municipality, as well as the actual state itself. So we have to learn to distinguish in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and the way that we distinguish what we should be doing as Moorish Americans is by actually following the footsteps of the Honorable Prophet Noble Ali. So if we follow the Prophet's footsteps, we will begin to learn where we're supposed to be, and as a nation of people. Okay, Sharif, you did say that nowhere in the Moorish literature does Noble Ali say that we are national citizens. I must correct you on that again. In the Divine Constitution, Act 6, he said he said this is a new era of time now, and all men must now proclaim a free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in and the nations of the earth. A free national name. In order to have a free national name, you must be a national citizen. This is our people problem here in America now that they don't understand. They're trying to be citizens without being a national. How can you be a citizen without being a national? And to have a free national name means that you are a national citizen, part of a national government. This is why he's saying you must honor the national constitution of a free national republic in the Moorish literature. This is just nonsense what you're teaching, man. Don't tell these people that. You are misleading these people into thinking that we're not supposed to be national citizens. We are national citizens. You made a statement about if you go vote in an election in another country, then you lose your nationality, you lose your citizenship. Well, we need to get into aliens and immigration, Title 8, subsection 14. 01 in sequence, and you would learn this is why in those laws of the United States is telling you that when you take your allegiance and proclaim your allegiance in a certain government, okay, you then lose your U.S. nationality, which is in alignment with what the Prophet laid down to us and what he taught us being Moorish Americans. He did not say proclaim your nationality. That's not what he said. Moors are misleading people into thinking that a simple proclamation of nationality is enough for you to gain your nationality. It is not. It is not. The Supreme Court already ruled on this, and this is already has been established in international law. In order for you to have a nationality, it must be conferred on you by a state. Not a temple, a state. And if you follow in Noble Drew Ali's footsteps, he's making this clear in the divine constitution. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our members their nationality so that they know that they are not Negro, colored, black, African American, or Ethiopian. So we have to really pay attention. We have to really pay attention. It did not say that Moorish Science Temple America was conferring any nationality. It said it was teaching our people their nationality. He has his hand on his chest standing in the doorway. If you look at the prophet's hand on his chest, if you look at his hand on his chest, he's pointing at something. And what he's pointing at is that you must proclaim your free national name in the government in which you live and the nations of the earth. His hand is pointing right at, you must proclaim it in the government in which you live in. By proclaiming your nationality in the government in which you live in and the nations of the earth, you did shed the U.S. national, also termed U.S. citizen, nationality that was conferred upon you. If you're not a national citizen, you do not shed the U.S. citizenship that was created for you by the 14th Amendment. Everyone in this country has dual nationality at birth, except for African American people. Okay? So now, there was a reason why the United States put the Japanese into these intern camps. Because under international law, your first allegiance is always to your homeland. Wake up, Moors. It's always to your homeland. Our homeland is America, not the United States. America is our homeland. So our first allegiance is always to our land, to our country. And if you have your own country and you got your own flag like this, then you are a national citizen. National. From nation, you get national. So I don't know what this man is talking about when he's telling our people that nowhere in Moorish literature, nowhere do Noble Drew Ali ever say that we are national citizens, that we're nationals. Yes, he do. What you think a free national name is? What do you think a free national name is? He says if you vote in an election in another country, you therefore lose your citizenship. I have a case. When I get a chance, I'm going to find it. But I read in the case that it was a guy doing the war against Germany. This guy was a German American. And at that time, he went back to the fatherland during the war, and he actually tortured American citizens. No, I take that back. Is during the Japanese war. He went back to Japan, and he actually tortured Americans that was captured by them during the time of war. So after the war was over, he tried to come back to America, and they said that he was no longer a United States citizen because he fought in a war with Japan, and therefore, and he actually tortured United States citizens, and therefore he was not a United States citizen anymore. The Supreme Court ruled in this issue and said that he had not denounced his United States citizenship and that he was still a United States citizen. They said he, at birth, was a Japanese American. Japanese American. So him torturing Americans on behalf of the Japanese was not an act of treason. Under international law, your first allegiance is to your homeland, to your people, to your state. Let's get an overstanding of this. They say everybody in the United States has dual nationality at birth. I read another case about a German guy who followed Hitler. There was a German American, and he told America that He German first, American second. Come on, Moors, wake up. You're Moorish first, American second. America is the land. We are the Americans, but we Moorish Americans. We're Moorish first. That flag right there represents a nation of Moorish American people. Islam.
Yeah. Here we go. We'll close it up. We could go on. That could be a lecture in and of itself.
Yep.
But I think we touched all the major points. Established points of fact concerning the Moorish Science Temple of America. One, it is not a separatist organization.
Thank you.
It's not.
Thank you.
And in any shape, form, or fashion, any degree of it applies.
Right.
It is not an independent nation, independent government, semi-dependent, whatever. None of those. It is not a government or nation independent of the United States of America.
Right.
Case in point, some people in the Moorish Science of America say or try to imply that it is. But what is one of the things you cannot do? I can't travel to Egypt and participate in their political process.
Right.
I can't travel to any foreign country and participate in their political process.
Right.
As a matter of fact, one of the general ways, because every household, in other words, every nation state, has its own laws regarding internal affairs, but one of the general ones in every nation on the planet is that if I were to participate in the political affairs of another nation, that is grounds for expatriation.
Correct.
I am no longer a member of that nation.
Right.
Why? Because to participate in another nation's political affairs presumes my allegiance has changed.
Wow.
Islam. Sharif, you're right about what you just said. The Moorish Science Temple of America is not a state. It is a municipality, though. It has home rule authority, and it does have a theocratic government. And I think a lot of Moors is mistaken that body of politic and a municipality and is a state. Okay, states are bodies of politic, but you have all kinds of forms of bodies of politic, such as your county, a city, municipality, as well as the actual state itself. So we have to learn to distinguish in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and the way that we distinguish what we should be doing as Moorish Americans is by actually following the footsteps of the Honorable Prophet Noble Ali. So if we follow the Prophet's footsteps, we will begin to learn where we're supposed to be, and as a nation of people. Okay. Sharif, you did say that nowhere in the Moorish literature does Noble Ali say that we are national citizens. I must correct you on that again. In the Divine Constitution, Act 6, he said he said this is a new era of time now, and all men must now proclaim a free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live in and the nations of the earth. A free national name. In order to have a free national name, you must be a national citizen. This is our people problem here in America now that they don't understand. They're trying to be citizens without being a national. How can you be a citizen without being a national? And to have a free national name means that you are a national citizen, part of a national government. This is why he's saying you must honor the national constitution of a free national republic in the Moorish literature. This is just nonsense what you're teaching, man. Don't tell these people that. You are misleading these people into thinking that we're not supposed to be national citizens. We are national citizens. You made a statement about if you go vote in an election in another country, then you lose your nationality, you lose your citizenship. Well, we need to get into aliens and immigration, Title 8, subsection 14. 01 in sequence, and you would learn this is why in those laws of the United States is telling you that when you take your allegiance and proclaim your allegiance in a certain government, okay, you then lose your U.S. nationality, which is in alignment with what the prophet laid down to us and what he taught us being Moorish Americans. He did not say proclaim your nationality. That's not what he said. Moors are misleading people into thinking that a simple proclamation of nationality is enough for you to gain your nationality. It is not. It is not. The Supreme Court already ruled on this, and this is already has been established in international law. In order for you to have a nationality, it must be conferred on you by a state, not a temple, a state. And if you follow in Noble Drew Ali's footsteps, he's making this clear in the divine constitution. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our members their nationality so that they know that they are not Negro, colored, black, African American, or Ethiopian. So we have to really pay attention. We have to really pay attention. It did not say that Moorish Science Temple America was conferring any nationality. It said it was teaching our people their nationality. He has his hand on his chest standing in the doorway. If you look at the prophet's hand on his chest, if you look at his hand on his chest, he's pointing at something. And what he's pointing at is that you must proclaim your free national name in the government in which you live and the nations of the earth. His hand is pointing right at, you must proclaim it in the government in which you live in. By proclaiming your nationality in the government in which you live in and the nations of the earth, you then shed the U.S. national, also termed U.S. citizen, nationality that was conferred upon you. If you're not a national citizen, you do not shed the U.S. citizenship that was created for you by the 14th Amendment. Everyone in this country has dual nationality at birth, except for African American people. Okay? So now, there was a reason why the United States put the Japanese into these, because under international law, your first allegiance is always to your homeland. Wake up, Moors. It's always to your homeland. Our homeland is America, not the United States. America is our homeland. So our first allegiance is always to our land, to our country. And if you have your own country and you got your own flag like this, then you are a national citizen. National. From nation, you get national. So I don't know what this man is talking about when he's telling our people that nowhere in Moorish literature, nowhere do Noble Drew Ali ever say that we are national citizens, that we're nationals. Yes, he do. What you think a free national name is? What do you think a free national name is? He says if you vote in an election in another country, you therefore lose your citizenship. I have a case. When I get a chance, I'm going to find it. But I read in the case that it was a guy during the war against Germany. This guy was a German American. And at that time, he went back to the fatherland during the war, and he actually tortured American citizens. No, I take that back. That was during the Japanese war. He went back to Japan, and he actually tortured Americans that was captured by them during the time of war. So after the war was over, he tried to come back to America, and they said that he was no longer a United States citizen because he fought in the war with Japan, and therefore, and he actually tortured United States citizens, and therefore he was not a United States citizen anymore. The Supreme Court ruled in this issue and said that he had not denounced his United States citizenship and that he was still a United States citizen. They said he, at birth, was was a Japanese American. Japanese American. So him torturing Americans on behalf of the Japanese was not an act of treason under international law. Your first allegiance is to your homeland, to your people, to your state. Let's get an understanding of this. They say everybody in the United States has dual nationality at birth. I read another case about a German guy who followed Hitler. There was a German American, and he told America that he German first, American second. Come on, Moors, wake up. You're Moorish first, American second. America is the land. We are the Americans, but we Moorish Americans. We're Moorish first. That flag right there represents a nation of Moorish American people. Islam.
It empowers Asiatics in America, the Moorish side of South America,
Right.
to obtain and enjoy a full social and political recognition within American society. Now, of course, there are a whole bunch of us nowadays, especially in 2016, that equate inclusion in American society as being traitorous to our own people. Well, only a people that take political and social and economic disenfranchisement as the norm would think such.
Wow.
It places our people on equal footing with all other national groups within American society. It demands of its members, of its members to actively participate within American society and not to abandon or separate from it.
Right.
I agree with Brother Sharif right here. We are not supposed to separate from the United States. Okay, let's get that clear. Of America. Okay, we do supposed to separate as far, and see, I don't think Moors really understand. Let me kind of break this down to the simplest, down to the lowest common denominator, so you can get an understanding. Okay, we as Moorish American people have to. You're able to live here amongst all of the citizens of America. You're able to live here amongst all the citizens of America and still be separate. Okay? So when he's saying that we are not to separate, yeah, we're not to separate, talking about leaving the country, leaving the land. Okay? That's not what, we're not supposed to do that. That's not how it goes. We are to form ourselves back into an independent nation state right here in America, because the United States Constitution is a contract with the states. And if we as a nation of people don't do and follow the national constitution, which means we must form back into an independent state in order for the contract of the United States to apply to us as a nation of people here in America. We have to become national citizens again. The way you become national citizens again is that you must have a state. And you must be a citizen of a state. And this is how nationality is conferred on you, which then you're recognized by the flag of your state. The flag of your nation. Okay? So yes, don't get it mixed up and twisted. In order for us to do that, we have to follow the United States Constitution. And like it says in subsection, in the 14th Amendment, subsection 1, it's clear. It says if you're born or naturalized here, you are automatically a citizen of the United States and the state in which you reside in. They never ever told us we couldn't form ourselves back into an independent nation state. Why do we keep insisting on residing in foreign estates here in America? The whole reason that the United States created the 14th Amendment was because these independent states would not give you citizenship, and guess what? They could not give you true citizenship because you are in a partnership with the United States government. You are an equal partner. This is why in the Dred Scott case is saying that people of African descent could never ever be United States citizens. Yeah, because we are in a partnership with them and we are our own independent nation. State here in America, on the American continent. We really got to get it together and get an understanding of how these things go until we, us, Moorish American people come together as a nation state, then we will never be on equal footing as everyone else here. In this country, the states are sovereign, period. Not an individual person, not a little group of religious group of people, not some Masonic organization. None of these people are sovereign here in this country. The only sovereign in America are the states. So the only thing that holds us back from being on the same playing field and on the same level as other nations here in America is because we had not formed ourselves into an independent nation state. It is vital that you go to the United States of America Republic.us website. Take your time. Read the site thoroughly. We have over 300 hits a day from people from other countries that's constantly going to this site reading it. They understand. All across the country, people are calling us. The United States of American Republic, they're calling, talking to us. They see us. They understand that we done claimed this land. We saying, hey, they the government of the United States, but we the government of North America. Islam, back to you, Sharif.
The power of the Moorish sign symbol of America is simply its insistence on the return of our people to the civilized family of nations via the proclamation of nationality.
That's right.
How many of us seen that one before? Citizen or national? I'm not a citizen. A citizen is a subject. You're right. Yes. Yes. All United States citizens are U.S. nationals, but not all U.S. nationals are United States citizens. How many of you took geometry where you hear, right? Every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square. There you go. So let's find out what a U.S. national is according to United States law.
Okay.
U.S. national, defined as a person born in or having ties with an outlying possession of the United States, which is at this date only American Samoa and Swains Island. It also included those persons born abroad to 2 U.S. nationals or 1 alien parent and 1 U.S. national parent. There would be an additional residency requirement for the parents of the child prior to birth in order to transmit United States nationality. In the past, those who were born in Guam, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, or the Philippines would be U.S. nationals, but now those born in Guam, PR, or the Virgin Islands are full United States citizens, have full United States citizenship. The Philippines is an independent nation, so citizenship was never accorded to them.
Right.
Oh, look at this. Restrictions. U.S. nationals cannot vote in any election or hold any elected office. Rights. They're allowed to work and reside anywhere within the United States with no restrictions. Eligible for U.S. passport. The passport is exactly the same as that of a United States citizen. Whoa, there's a distinction there. Both say nationality USA. Eligible to apply for United States citizenship through naturalization under the same rules as other permanent residents. Prophet Ali instructed the Moors to participate in the political process. Yep. Which are we? Nationals or citizens? The Prophet never used the term national to describe us.
Come on, brother.
Never. Never.
That's right.
And if he knew enough about nationality
Right.
back in 1913, that most of us who have letters, who are schooled, still don't know, I think he would know the difference between citizen and House Resolution number 187 was taken up in the Senate. That chamber voted unanimously to strike out the House proposal and substituted a new 3rd section, the version that became part of the Constitution. Confederate sympathizers, here we go, people. Confederate sympathizers disliked the 14th Amendment not only because of the citizenship clause of Section 1, but because of the citizenship limitations of the third section, ultimately placed on European Southern rebels, which lasted until the General Amnesty Act of 1872.
Right.
Once again, people, why are we talking about this as what European? Because a lot of our people with fezzes and turbans are saying these very same things and advocating these things.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
Wow.
Latin term of law, of jurisprudence. Nullius filius, Latin, it means a son of nobody or a bastard. This is significant. A bastard having no heritable rights in the eyes of the law. One devoid of ancestry, which loss of nationality affects.
Wow.
Negroes have no histories, have no connection to a past, thus are incapable of ancestors. Rendered Nullius filius, and are denied all of the rights, liberties, and recognition that citizens are afforded. Noble Drew, the founder of the Moorish American movement in 1913, and expounding upon the 14th Amendment, omitted the citizenship clause. Stop right there. He didn't talk about the citizenship clause when he expounded on it. He didn't talk about the citizenship clause, and spoke only on the incorporation function of the amendment.
Right.
In that it allowed for the southern states to be reabsorbed back into the Union, in returning to us the knowledge of our national origin, culture, divine creed, etc. He freed us from the perils of Nullius filius, and therefore rendered the citizenship clause for us not applicable.
That's right. That's right, Mark.
Unlike the states' rights sovereign citizen advocates who are protesting the incorporation doctrine function of the 14th Amendment, for the Moorish American, socio-politically improper person, it simply does not apply. Thus, as the prophet said, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of my people as citizens.
The 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution did a few things. This man is telling you that it didn't create a citizenship for our people in this country. It did. It created a citizenship for those newly freed Negroes because they never formed themselves back into an independent nation state. And so the United States government recognized this and did the only thing that they could do to protect us as a nation of people in this country who had not followed the law of the federal government's constitution, which was to form ourselves back into an independent nation state and to proclaim our nationalities and therefore becoming national citizens again, and therefore making the United States Constitution apply to us on the level that it's supposed to apply to us. The federal Constitution, once again, is a contract between the federal government and the states. Negroes had no state and therefore had no contract that aligned us in alignment with the federal government's constitution. Okay, so real simple. So what the federal government did was, the 14th Amendment did a few things. It, one, created a citizenship for Negroes in America. Two, it turned over the Dred Scott decision, where they never ever had to make a decision on the issue if Negroes was United States citizens or not. Okay, so there was no need to overturn the Dred Scott decision in the Dred Scott case. Simple. Three, Negro, color, black, and African Americans are naturalized at birth by the 14th Amendment. They are the only people, African Americans are the only people who do not have to do what? Get a United States 2 years prior notice that they want to be United States citizens. They don't have to go before a district court judge, and they don't have to pledge their allegiance to the United States government, denouncing all these sin and foreign persons. Our people are the only people that don't have to do that. Any other race or nation of people that is here in this country must do so. Four, us being Moorish Americans do not have to naturalize. We cannot naturalize because we are the free white 21 and older that the Constitution was talking about in the original Constitution was us. We are considered, being a Moorish American, you are considered to be white. and therefore are in alignment in your proper person in law, and therefore the national constitution, the federal government's constitution apply to you as a national citizen, and therefore you cannot be naturalized in this country. You already, now, if you are African American, what the United States, what the 14th Amendment did was naturalize you at birth. So what it did then was, what the federal government then did with the 14th Amendment was this. It said if you are born here, this subsection 1, if you are born here, you are automatically a citizen of the United States and the state in which you reside in. Listen to the language. And the state in which you reside in. Okay? So, just by being born here, if you're African American, you are automatically a U.S. citizen, which is also termed a U.S. national. Okay? You don't want to be a U.S. citizen with the small c or a U.S. national. What you want to be is a Moorish American national, which means your national descent, you are a people from America. From America. The U.S.A. that Noble Drew Ali was talking about is a representation of the land itself. The republic is what? Our government. As Moorish American people, our government was the republic. Okay? It is the republic right now. So, the 14th Amendment also did this for Negro, colored, blacks, and African Americans. It secured the First Amendment through the 8th Amendment for these people here in America to secure them some rights. So just pay attention. Subsection 1 of the 14th Amendment says that if you're born here, you are automatically a citizen of the United States and the state in which you reside. Bam! You have a split allegiance right there. Okay. 2. The next thing is 2. It secured the First Amendment through the 8th Amendment for these Negro, colored, black, and African American people, and they also told the states what? That they must treat these people the same way that they treat their citizens under their state constitution, and therefore letting Negro, colored, blacks, and African Americans know that the state's constitutions that the states have is not their constitution. Also, the United States Constitution is not their constitution. How do you know that the United States federal government constitution is not the constitution of Moors? Simple. It only secured the First through the 8th Amendment for Negro, colored, black, and African Americans. 13, 14, and 15 are the only parts of the United States Constitution that apply to African American people. If you are a Moorish American national, the only part of the United States Constitution that would apply to you is Article 6, dealing with the trees. The other part of the United States Constitution that would apply to you is the fact that you have the right to have your own state here in America, being a nation of people, which would align you with the Constitution of the federal government. So now you have the contractual agreement that Constitution, which is a compact or contract with the federal government of what the federal government can do with you as a nation of people in your state and what they can't do within your state as a nation of people. So when we get this understanding, the 14th Amendment, it only secured the First through the 8th Amendment. It didn't secure the most important parts, 9, 10, and 11. Read 9, 10, and 11 and what they say and what they deal with. They could not give you 9, 10, and 11. We as a nation of people must claim 9, 10, and 11 by doing what? Forming ourselves into a nation state, writing our own state constitution, and down 9, 10, and 11 would apply to us as a nation of people. Islam.
This is what real sovereignty is.
Come on.
This is what real sovereignty is. Legal definition. Sovereign people. A what? Say it again. A what? Nationality determines what kind of status? Political status. Okay, people. Comprised of a consolidated number of what? Citizens and qualified electors who possess what? The sovereign power in which they exercise how? Through their chosen representatives. Generally, the sovereign people confer and designate upon the chosen representatives the absolute, unlimited, and sovereign power to do what? To determine the qualification of what? Voters! Right. And the right to limit the elective franchise. Sovereignty is a political power, people. There's no such thing as a sovereign individual. Let me repeat that.
That's right.
There is no such thing as a sovereign individual. Sovereignty is not an individual possession. Sovereignty does not equate to immunity to laws, codes, statutes, etc. She gave me that disapproving mom. Point. Here's the question. Rhetorical. But think about it. Nationality determines political status, not status in law. Where would you rather be? At the table, deciding how the laws are formed for the betterment of yourself, family, and community?
Right.
Or arguing the laws with a low-level magistrate after the fact?
Wow.
The prophet knew what he was talking about.
Right.
That's why Act 4 and Act 5 says what it says.
That's right.
It says, this organization of, Act 4, all members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government. Because by being a Moorish American, meaning you have a seat at the table and how the laws are formed. You are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly.
Come on, brother. Come on.
If I help make the laws,
There you go.
why wouldn't I follow?
Thank you. Let's go.
Revocation of federal citizenship. Oh, I'm not a citizen, I'm a national. I'm not a citizen. Citizen is a subject. That ain't what the prophet said.
Right.
Now we know who's who. This is invasion of the body snatchers for real.
Yeah.
You need those special glasses.
Yeah.
Insist on existence of ordinary citizenship. Believe they are only subject to natural law and common law. Let's stop right there. Common law, let's talk about that. How many are familiar with McCritchie's book, Ancient and Modern Britain?
Yes.
So that means if you're familiar with that book, you know who the nobles were in the UK, in ancient England.
Right.
You know who the nobles were.
Yes.
Okay, let's give you a little brief history on common law. You have the nobles, you have the serfs, you have the common man. Common man was the serf, was a commoner, but he was under the protection of a noble. Common man was out there in the field by himself, wife, a little bit of property, his cattle or whatever, livestock. Meaning he was unprotected. So the nobles would come in and quite often did, right, kill him, rape the wife, take the wife, enslave the children, take the property. Believe birth certificates are commercial instruments denoting ownership of persons and or bonds traded as private stocks. AKA the redemption scam.
Uh-oh. Let's go.
We're going to talk about that one too. Because that one has taken on a very insidious mutation within our movement. Didn't I say that whole redemption scheme took a real nasty mutation in the movement? How many of you have seen that before? There is no, I'm sorry, this is going to make some people upset.
Demonstrate more.
Now, using the general sense of the term trust, yes, one exists. Just like a vast estate exists. But it ain't no parcel of land that you're just going to wake up one morning and say is mine. It's not what the vast estate is.
It's not.
There is a trust, but it ain't that.
Make it plain. Make it plain.
The express trust fallacy began with a brother by the late Frank Louis Gill Bay. Who heard of him? I know you have, brother, man. We know. We were around. We submitted a spoke to the man.
I still got the VHS.
Still got, there you go, bro. All the judge had to do was say, well, Mr. Gill Bay, when was the organization founded? He said, Mr. Gill Bay, who's the trustor? He said, Noble Drawley. He said, who's the trustee? He said, I am. He said, when did Noble Drawley pass away? He said, 1929. He said, when were you born? In its present iteration, it is used as the foundation for the Moorish redemption scam. Scam. You confused, brother. In verse or instruction 7, their dominion and habitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across the Great Atlantis, even to the present North, South, Central America, also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the Great Earthquake, which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. And that is taken, Frank Louis Gill Bay said, that is the deed that's the deed of conveyance, and that describes our vast estate. So we have inherited a whole continent. So just by saying I'm a Moorish American with the name Ale or Bay, I own land. Thus, I'm a citizen of the land.
Okay, this man is misleading the people. Okay, he said the trust is a fraud. This is a simple one to debunk, to show that he's misleading our people. Now, I'm on the internet. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Cook County oh, there it is right there. Cook County Recorder Deeds. Forms, locations, right here. Okay, Cook County Recorder Deeds, Karen Yarborough. Okay. This is the Cook County Recorder Deeds site. Now watch. We're going to go to, click here to access the 2020 Perfect Vision to search portal. We're going to go to search public records. Okay, now we're going to go over here to search criteria. Let me make sure that you're seeing this. See that? Search criteria. Look what we have here. It says trust number search. Trust number search. Let's click that. Okay, now we're going to go over here and say trust number. We're going to put in 10105905. Let's see what happens when we enter that into the search engine. If the trust don't exist, why do this come up saying trust number? If the trust does not exist, how come it comes up on the Cook County Recorder Deeds site as a trust? This man is misleading the people. He's misleading the people. I don't have to say any more. I don't have to say any more. Exercise your 5 senses. I don't know if some of these people have been compromised or what, or why they are intentionally misleading our people into believing that this trust don't exist. If the trust don't exist, then what is you proclaiming your nationality for? The whole purpose of you proclaiming your nationality is to realign yourself with your birthright to the land. Do I need to say any more? Stop using nonsense and listening to nonsense. Start thinking and using some common sense. Islam.
Context, people. Remember that magic word. Federal versus state definition of terms. I know, listen people, listen, I can tell you, I literally won a case for a good friend of mine, brother. It was one of the worst things in retrospect that I ever did. Because this was about 20 years ago. It's 2016, this brother still believes. Because I won the case for him. Wow. Because I had a sympathetic judge who wanted to listen to me. Wow. And let it rock. And at that time period, see, one of the reasons why we were very successful in a lot of these bogus legal arguments, because that's what they are, right, is because we blindsided the legal system. We weren't prepared. We knew more about it than they did. Wow. It wasn't that we were right. We were just better equipped than them. Wow, that's right. Not in 2016. They see you coming a mile away. Yep, that's right. Not in 2016. I won a case. It was so, I don't even want to go into the details. But I actually won a case based on Murdoch versus Pennsylvania. Wow. I sure did. Sure did. I won it for a Butler. And the judge dismissed everything. Win is not really a win. Let's keep that real. A win is a decision in your favor. A dismissal, for whatever reason, is not a win. Because it doesn't make precedence. Can't be used with silence. Right. It just means I ain't go to jail. That's what it means. But anyway, and also too, I use the Black's Law Dictionary definition of a driver. One who is employed in the use of the public highways for commercial purposes. I use the Black's Law Dictionary definition of a motor vehicle. A vehicle used for commercial purposes on the public highway, like a taxi driver or a sales driver. Y'all heard this before. Y'all heard this before. I used it, but guess what? I was just smarter than the judge. I was just smarter than the DA. They didn't understand context either. Driver's license issues are issues of what? Federal or state?
State.
What definitions should be used? You'll find that the state definitions fit the context and are different than the federal. Off of the head. Oh, they know that now. They didn't know that then. They didn't know it then. They know it now. Miller versus U.S. Actually, not Thompson. Yeah, it was Thompson versus Smith. That's what I used. The claim and exercise of a constitutional right cannot be converted into a crime. How many of you heard that? This is how it's misinterpreted. Having a driver's license now puts me under the privilege of driving and takes me out of the right to travel. So therefore, the possession of a driver's license converts a right into a privilege and charges a fee. Isn't that what we used to say?
Yeah.
Let's go. Sneer versus Cullen. There can be no sanction or penalty imposed upon one because of this exercise of constitutional rights. Constitutional right in this case being understood to be right to travel. Thompson versus Smith. The right of the citizen to travel upon the public highways and to transport his property thereon, either by horse-drawn carriage or by automobile, is not a mere privilege which a city can prohibit or permit at will, but a common right which he has under the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That sounds kind of specific. Let's give you some case-specific case law. Hendrick versus Maryland. The movement of motor vehicles over the highways is attended by constant and serious dangers to the public, and is also abnormally destructive to the ways themselves. In the absence of national legislation covering the subject, there is no federal driver's license, no federal travel authority, no federal. It doesn't exist. A state may rightfully prescribe uniform regulations necessary for public safety and order in respect to the operation upon its highways of all motor vehicles, those moving in interstate commerce as well as others, those moving in interstate commerce as well as others. And to this end, it may require the registration of such vehicles and the licensing of their drivers. This is but an exercise of the police power uniformly recognized as belonging to the states and essential to the preservation of the health, safety, and comfort of their citizens. That is case specific.
That's right.
Let's go on. Motor vehicles are dangerous machines, and even when skillfully and carefully operated, their use is attended by serious dangers to persons and property. In the public interest, the state may make and enforce regulations reasonably calculated to promote care on the part of all, residents and non-residents alike, who use its highways. Hess versus Pulaski, 1927. The use of the public highways by motor vehicles with its consequent dangers renders the reasonableness and necessity of regulation apparent. The universal practice is to register ownership of automobiles and to license their drivers. Any appropriate means adopted by the states to ensure confidence and care on the part of the licensees and to protect others using the highway is consonant with due process. Reeds versus Medley, 1941. State versus Skirtle, 1988, recent. This is obviously a growing school of thought. This is my notes, I'm sorry. This is obviously a growing school of thought which has been misguided. The notion of right to travel remains wholly separate from the right or privilege to operate a motor vehicle on the public highways. Please note that the court made a point of discussing many of the arguments against requiring driver's licenses and also rejected the argument that if the travel is not commercial or not connected to government activity, that it is not susceptible to regulation. Montana versus Turk, for those of you that say, well, hey, I'm not traveling in a motor vehicle. I'm not driving a motor vehicle, I'm traveling in my conveyance. Montana versus Turk, using the term automobile and motor vehicle interchangeably. Ain't no way around. Oh, we got more. Aptica versus the Secretary of State. The right to travel is not absolute, people. It is well established that the Constitution permits a state. Let me say that again. It is well established that the Constitution permits a state to regulate the operation of motor vehicles on its roads. In the absence of national legislation covering the subject, the state may rightfully prescribe uniform regulations necessary for the public safety and in order to respect the operation on its highways of all motor vehicles. You all see it. I'm not going to read it all. It's a lot. But the key thing right here, I'm going to read. Therefore, the question before this court is whether the requirement that one obtain a driver's license before driving upon the highways and, in the process, provide one's social security number is a reasonable regulation in furtherance of the state's police power. Here's the disconnect, people. The disconnect in legal understanding regarding right to travel. Number one, the right of states to regulate under its police power does not infringe upon the individual's right to travel. It doesn't. I'm sorry. The right of the state to do so is protected by the Constitution for the securing the safety of life and property. A state is considered a person in the Constitution. It has rights just like individuals have rights. And the Supreme Court and Congress have not deemed that the regulation of rights for the purpose of public safety is an infringement upon your right to travel. Protection of rights is a duty of government and not left up to individuals solely or directly. Let's bring this right home. All right. That there are strong angels at every gate.
That's right.
And you don't see them. The prophet is quoted as saying, I will use the European to enforce my law. I don't know how true or accurate that is. I will say this. Keep your eyes open. Yes, sir. As the brother attested to. Armageddon within the Moorish movement. In other words, in the Bible, in the biblical story of Jesus, Jesus spent 3.5 years in a ministry where he had wanted posters up in the city of Jerusalem.
That's right.
At a particular point in time in his ministry, what did he do? He did the most gangsterous thing he could have done. He rides broad daylight on the back of the donkey right into the city. Yep. And where's the first place he goes? He goes right to the temple. And what does he do? He puts his foot to every single one of the money changers in the temple. In other words, where did he go first? The temple. What did he do? Cleaned house in the temple. That's what he did. In chapter 47, the time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Heading up to Baltimore from Atlanta and got pulled over. Remember he told us?
Yes, sir.
He gets pulled over in a rental, get a rental vehicle. Pulls out his license. The officer looks at his license and takes a step back and puts his hand on his firearm. But then had this little confused look and said, so what's your name? He said, Rodney McCoy. He said, is there a problem, officer? And the officer kind of calmed down a little bit. He said, oh, no, sir. We were instructed that you people don't have licenses. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Now, do I need to say any more?
So, you're a philosopher?
Yes. 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 Yes.